We're here at the Ssnit office to speak to the Director General of Social Security and National Insurance Trust. My name is Jifa Bampo and I'm here on behalf of TV3. Good evening. Good evening to you, Dr. Foritinkran, and thank you for speaking to us at TV3 and 3FM.
Good evening to you and good evening to all your viewers.
Thank you. So we've had knowledge of the Auditor General's report, which makes some queries towards the Ssnit and its management. First, let me ask, are you aware of the contents of this 2019 report?
Yeah, I would say that I haven't quite cited the final report, but I think that probably all the issues that are in there have come to our attention via management letter. As you may or may not know, since 2017, the Auditor General himself decided that they would audit Ssnit instead of the normal external auditors that companies will hire to do their external audit. So since 2017, the Auditor General has been auditing Ssnit. And in these annual audits, issues come up. They are brought to the attention of management for management to take remedial actions. And then in the subsequent audits, they will come and verify whether those items have been attended to or progress have been made, and they are documented as such. So I'm sure that, I'm familiar with the issues.
Now, the contents of the report make for some concern for contributors and Ghanaians as a whole. It's a huge institution, has a lot of pedigree and history. And according to the Auditor General's report, it seems to suggest that Ssnit is bleeding funds. For instance, non-collection of some rent from some of Ssnit's property through Brawl Ghana, some 773 million Ghana cedis that the Controller and Accountant General owes Ssnit, some 185 million US dollar housing project at Klago and Sakumono, and non-recovery of some 151 million cedis from NTHC. What's your response to this if Ghanaians see this or hear of it and feel like Ssnit is losing money?
Right. I think probably if you say Ssnit is bleeding funds, it's a little bit of a, maybe, for the lack of a better word, a mischaracterization, because these funds that you are talking about have not been lost. There's just monies that are outstanding that needs to be collected. So I wouldn't say we've written them off and hence constituting a bleed. But be that as it may, I think I want to underscore that a lot of the issues you've talked about are legacy issues.
Going how far back?
I mean, some of them go as far back as probably 2010, 2009. If you take issues with, let's say, Controller and Accountant General, that has been with Ssnit since inception.
Wow.
Because, the Controller pays or not pays depending on their liquidity positions and so on and so forth. So that one has been around for a long time.
So what are you doing in reference to Controller and Accountant General?
Oh, Controller and Accountant General, and just for the sake of your viewers, Controller and Accountant General is just an employer who employs the public sector workers, right? And because he pays them. And they are supposed to remit social security contributions to the trust. And sometimes, as and when, depending on the exigencies of their cash flows, they may miss. Just like any other employer sometimes will miss contributions. Our job is to document it and recover pursuant to all the statutes that are in the Act that govern our operations. So we are in, we have an arrangement with Controller. In fact, this was an arrangement that we came up with last year, where the government said that through the Ministry of Finance, because Controller is under the Ministry of Finance, said that for the arrears that have piled up, they were going to retire them through the issuance of bonds, right? Because we can use bonds ourselves. But let me deal with some of them. The issues with, let's say, the loans to the various companies. I think that's what that's part of what you are referring to. A lot of them have to do with housing, property, property development that the trust went into somewhere in 2013, 2011, 2014, thereabouts. And the arrangements were that the trust partners with a private developer. They both put up some amount of equity, albeit sometimes minimal. And then they turn around for the trust to lend into the JV, the joint venture. So that has been the case with a few, maybe 3 or 4 of these property joint JV companies. And so the 180 million whatever that you were talking about.
Yes, that is
I
the
think that one
Klagon
with
and Sakumono estate.
Yes, so that is a JV with Regimanuel Gray Limited. Part of the financing structure was that in addition to the equity, they will put in some debt, and Ssnit provided the debt. And then Regimanuel was the contractor. So they started the project. The market turned. They haven't been able to sell the properties that has been developed.
So they've not been able to sell in order to pay Ssnit back.
To pay the loan. And so what we have done, and this is since I came, is how do you salvage the situation? So instead of waiting for them to sell the property, at least the ones that have been completed, we then have gotten into an arrangement where we're going to do a swap, where we're saying, okay, let's value these properties through an independent valuer, find out how much these properties are worth, and then trade it for the debt. Then Ssnit can then decide. Now all of that will be within.
Know how much of the property
that we've gotten back into our books, and then we see what we do with it.
All right.
I mean, things like NTHC, that those loans were advanced to NTHC 2013, 2014. They paid some, but some were still outstanding. And then what I think that one we've done some work on it. What we've done is that we've said, okay, well, then let's value the company and then trade some of these receivables for equity. So we've done a debt to equity swap with NTHC. Yeah.
So you say that in 2017 there's an article where Bright Simmons mentions that Ssnit's portfolio, the property portfolio, is not doing very well. And so there should be a way for Ssnit to turn that around so that funds don't just go aground. How far with things since then? Because he said if you looked at banking, Ssnit could very well do what the banks do, where they make money, which is from these loans. But I'm not sure how far you've come since then on that.
Yeah, I think I saw that article, and that article, as you rightly said, was written, I think, in 2017.
Yes.
And 2017 was when I became DG. As I said, I inherited these issues and I have to deal with them. Ssnit has an investment portfolio, and it's a sizable one. And like with all investments, some do well, some don't do so well, and that's why you have a portfolio. I think in general the Ssnit portfolio, has done well, except in one particular area.
That's the property
that has
area.
To do with property.
But it seems that's where Ssnit has sunk a lot of money.
Well, yes, in the past.
Okay.
In the past, Ssnit has sunk a lot of money into property. Now we don't do that anymore. I think since I became DG, other than the legacy issues where you are in midstream and you cannot retreat, so you have to find a way to get across to the shore. what I mean by that is that there's a work in progress. A lot of money has been spent on it, so you better finish it so that you can actually have hope of getting money back. But other than that, you know, Ssnit has not invested in any new property ventures. So the parts of the property that has been okay, it has been doing well, maybe other, was the banking sector. We have a lot of shares in banks. And then, you know, when there was this...
the financial sector
cleanup. Yeah, banks, some of the banks, a lot of the banks stopped paying dividends and so, but that's a short-lived thing, right? And we hope that we'll be back on track. The property market has kind of hit a downturn, as you know. I mean, there's all kinds of high-rise properties dotted across the skyline in Accra. And so it makes it, one, there is more competition, and two, our property market, our property portfolio, if you look at it, are commercial buildings that were built in the 90s. You know, if you look across to the Pyramid building over here.
Ssnit Pension House.
Yeah, Pension House. If you look at World Trade Center.
And the main one on the, is it at Sadabraka?
Yes, there is that one there. You look at where Fidelity Bank is, Rich Towers. All those have been dotting the landscape for decades, right? So they are old. And so, you know, they need to compete with the new ones. And so there are challenges where you have old...
trying to repurpose old buildings to fit the modern mode.
So with those, we have had some issues with tenants, and you know, they trying to get some level of, expecting some level of service that they have not been getting. But we have taken the steps to try and get these properties refurbished and bring them up to standard so that it can compete. Yes, so in that, on that front, we've had a bit of headwinds, but those were things that had started several years ago, where, you know, they haven't been, you know, kept up to date, and the chickens, I guess, come home to roost. But we are in the process of sorting them out.
All right. Now, I understand Ssnit's assets are some 9.5 billion cedis. Am I correct?
Yes, I think thereabouts.
That's a lot of money, sir.
Well, Jafar, it's not a lot of money when you look at the liabilities that you have.
And that's the point. Because if you have 9.5 billion in assets, yet you have all these monies outstanding, then some contributors and pensioners would then complain about what they are receiving. I dare say they may even say that they should be receiving more than what they get. What's your view on that?
Okay, so the structure of the Ssnit scheme is, well, first of all, it's a defined benefit scheme. And what that means is that the benefits that you are going to get is defined right from day one when you start to be a contributor. You know exactly what you're going to get when you get when you go on pension, because it's like a contract. It's defined. So in terms of, you know, changing what people get, that one is legislated, but the onus is on Ssnit to make sure that it has enough funds to be able to, at the minimum, meet those contractual payments.
So are you saying that these monies outstanding mentioned in the Auditor General's report, for instance, does not impact payment to your 200,000 and over pensioners? It will not impact what your members project they will receive? No. Because I thought the idea was Ssnit gets all this good money, invests it, and based on the dividends, then you pay a good contribution to members.
Right. Okay, so the answer to that is that it will impact in the long run. Okay, so what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that these funds which we have in reserve, right, at some point are going to be called upon to be used to make payments, to make contractual payments. So if the funds are outstanding now, and I don't have cash flow issues, I need a cash to pay now. If the funds are outstanding and I have cash, I can meet my current payments. But at some point, I need to bring home those outstanding funds to make them liquid so that I can then use to make more current payments, right? Now, so here is the deal. The contributions that people make are not enough to pay the benefits that they get, right? So we rely on investment income to supplement those contributions in order to make those payments, right? So our job is to make sure that we have enough assets or enough reserves built up such that come rain or shine, COVID or no COVID, property slumps or no property slumps, people's pensions that they are supposed to get contractually will not change, and you'll be able to make those payments, right?
So ultimately, people will get what they earn or are expecting to earn.
Correct.
And it's up to Ssnit to make that happen.
To make that happen.
In spite of whatever the circumstances may be.
That's right. So if I have a bumper year today, this year, that doesn't mean that I can go ahead and increase everybody's pension. You know,
can you do that?
I can't.
Okay, you can't increase the pension.
I
mean, I know you talked about there's a contractual, you know what you are getting at the end of it all. But if people say that what I'm getting isn't enough, can't Ssnit make it better?
No. That's a short answer. The short answer is no, because the Act states exactly how people should be paid. Right?
And it's all dependent on how much you earn.
It depends on how much you contributed, right?
Okay, how much of your earnings you contributed over your working life.
Yes, in fact, I like to think about it as us being an insurance company where we insure people's occupational income, that is income associated with the work that you do. So you currently, you are working, you're receiving a certain amount of money, you come to Ssnit and say, hey, Ssnit, I'm going to insure this stream of income so that one day when something happens, the unthinkable, which is retirement, which will eventually come, happens, you're going to replace it for me. So how much you declare to us and insure, that is how much that we pay you on a manner that is commensurate with that. You get the idea?
Yes.
So if you are crying that your pension is not enough, ask yourself the question, how much have you insured with us? I always have an example that I like to give, and that is, if you're driving a Mercedes and you go to the insurer to buy insurance, it's just so that when the unthinkable happens, you get a replacement, right? And if you go and you tell them that, no, you are driving a Tico or a Picanto, and then you pay the premium that they will charge you for a Picanto, when you have that accident or when that car gets stolen and you go back to the insurance company, do you expect them to give you a Mercedes? The answer is no. They will give you the equivalent of the Picanto that you insured. So the pensions that people get, because we are a contributory scheme, depends on how much they have contributed.
Okay.
But our job is to make sure that that insurance company will remain solvent to be able to meet those claims when they come.
Okay. In relation to that then, contributors want to have confidence that Ssnit is managing these resources very well. I understand that, it depends on people contributing. We have just about 1.2 million contributing regularly. Is that it?
We have about 1.6 million.
1.6 contributing
on a regular basis.
On a regular basis.
And then we have about 4 million people in the database.
But you have 4 million, so you have about 6 million people.
No, so out of that 4 million.
Okay, so out of the 4 million.
1.6 million.
Okay, so let's do that again. So how many people do you have on the Ssnit database? 4 million people.
We have about 4 million.
All right.
4 million.
And how many of them are contributing regularly?
We have about 1.6 million.
1.6 million. All right. So what confidence can Ssnit give to these people and its 200,000 over pensioners
Right.
that there's no cause for alarm? This audit report raises these issues. Should they not be concerned?
Right. I think I will say to contributors that there is no cause for undue concern, right? That we will meet our obligations. We have not defaulted yet, and I don't think we're going to default anytime soon. Having said that, that doesn't mean that we don't have headwinds, ahead of us. We have COVID, which is basically affecting people's jobs, and employers are not able to pay the salaries that they are supposed to be paying, and so on and so forth. So they will have a negative impact on the on Ssnit. These things that have been, that we are talking about today, are things that we need to pay attention to so that we can rectify them and make sure that every penny that is outstanding comes home. All right. I like contributors to know that since I said this, a lot of these are legacy issues. Since I became DG, which is in 2017, we haven't had any such issues, under my watch. If for nothing at all, what we've done is actually through audits and renegotiations, we've been able to save the trust quite a bit of money.
How much?
Think it's about 500 million Ghana cedis as at the end of 2020. And these came through renegotiation of certain investment contracts in these property sectors that you've been talking about, the work that is in progress. Also, in the normal pension administration, we've been able, I think we saved about 140 million Ghana cedis just by making sure that at the end of the month, when I'm running that payroll, the money that is going out to legitimate pensioners.
No ghosts.
No ghost names. I'm sure you heard about that. We've
Yes.
deleted quite a bit of ghost names. Basically, we've tried to make the operation of the trust a little bit more efficient, right, with respect to the administration, and then with respect to the investments, to make sure that the legacy portfolio that we had, which is not that agile, and that is not probably yielding what the return that we expect because of the downturn in the market. We've tried to make sure that us there too we are able to save some monies. So I would like to assure the contributors and the pensioners that their pensions are secure. With respect to even controller, they've been engaged. I've engaged them. We've had understanding, like I said, that some of these outstanding debts have to be repaid, and repaid such that the full value of the money pursuant to Section 64, where interest and penalties are levied, are all complied with. And I think, the Auditor General would verify, and because they are still here and they are still auditing, they are still our auditors, in some of their letters where every year they come back and check on what the issues they raised the year before. In the latest letter that I got in March this year, a lot of these issues have been settled.
The president, during his State of the Nation address, indicated that Ssnit numbers will become TIN numbers, national ID card numbers will become TIN numbers, all in an effort to expand the tax net so that GRA is identifying other people other than the regular people we know. Tell us how Ssnit comes into all of this.
So what I think the president said with respect to Ssnit is that the Ghana card number would become the Ssnit number. So not the TIN. The TIN is for the GRA. To save money, Ssnit decided that it will be good for us, financially and operational wise, to tap into the Ghana card construct, the Ghana card number. And by the way, there's also a law that has been passed that says that going forward, nobody can access public services without having a Ghana card
number.
So you couldn't come and transact with Ssnit if you don't have a Ghana card number. So what we've done is that we have retooled our systems and such that the interface to identify customers, members and clients when they present themselves before us will not be a Ssnit card that we issue. In the past, we were issuing at a tremendous cost, but the Ghana card, which contains the person's biometrics, and somehow if you find a way to link that Ghana card to their Ssnit account, that Ghana card number to their Ssnit account number, then all they have to do is to carry just one card. And then when they come to us, we swipe it and it automatically links into their account, and then we are in business. The same thing will go for beneficiaries. Like if you nominate your children to be beneficiaries, in the past we are not even taking their biometrics. We just hope that one day when they need to access funds and they come, then we put them through all kinds of interviews and so on and so forth. Now, because every Ghanaian is going to be on it, all you have to do is to give us the Ghana card number of your beneficiaries, and that's it. So if one day they have to come and claim, they come be based on the card number, and then they can put their finger there and we can tell, oh, this is who they say they are. So that's what we are doing, right? So between now and then, I think our members and clients are going to experience certain things. What are they going to see? Very soon. We've started merging data from the National Identification Authority with Ssnit. Mm-hmm. So if you went to register at NIA and you give them your Ssnit number, which you were required to if you were a Ssnit contributor, now we are linking the Ghana card number that you were given with your Ssnit account. So we're doing some merging of data. I think so far we've merged about maybe 600,000 of those. And so we have about another 1 million or so to go. And then we're going to send, I think probably by April 12th or so, we're going to send text messages to our members for whom the merging of data has been successfully completed. So we'll tell them that, look, we've been able to merge your Ghana card number with your Ssnit number, and so going forward, now you can show up at the offices with just your Ghana card number. There are some people who did not.
What about people who are not Ssnit contributors at all?
Right. So,
or Ssnit contributors who don't have a Ghana card number?
Yes, so there are some people, let me deal with, there are some people, some Ssnit contributors who did not give their Ssnit number to the NIA when they were registering. Mm-hmm. So for them, we've developed an app, which we're going to roll out maybe in the middle of April. And they can use that app and put in the necessary information, and then automatically their numbers, they'll be verified, and then it will be merged. Okay.
So their records will be updated?
Will be updated. Then the people who are not yet Ssnit contributors, right? So they don't have any Ssnit number. That's all right. When they are ready to be Ssnit contributors, they show up at our office. This time when they come, they give us their Ghana card. We swipe it. It automatically gets into the NIA database. It gives us all the information, the required information that has already been submitted to the NIA.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Tinko, and this is where we must leave it. Thank you very much for addressing these issues in the Auditor General's report, and as well as the updates on digitization. Thank you. Thank
you very much, Jifa, but I want to use your platform to assure our members and contributors that this audit is a routine audit. For the 3 years or so that the Auditor General has been auditing us, there hasn't been any financial malfeasance that people should be worried about. The issues raised are mainly legacy investment issues, which we are trying to sort out. And so I just want to assure our contributors and our pensioners that their pensions are secure, and that they should keep their faith with us, and we will do right by them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.